Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sick Minds of Matt and Eric. As you can tell, Eric is unfortunately not here, and I have several people with me. The reason why Eric is not here is he still has no power. He sent me a text that said that he's not going to have power until potentially Tuesday now. So I feel really bad for him. So today, we're going to do probably an hour-long episode, maybe a little bit more, of just talking about wrestling, because it is WrestleMania season. And we all love wrestling, and we can't wait to talk about it. So I'm going to start with Chris. Chris, tell everyone who you are and how you doing.
I'm Chris. I am the founder of the CKCC podcasting network. Now it's a video network. It's also a streaming thing. It's a community, and we're creative people who help each other out and support each other. That's what we're growing into here. Currently, as far as wrestling goes, I am now the voice of Three Legacies Wrestling, the promotion here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, headed up by former WWE superstar Ricardo Rodriguez. And as of today, we are recording this. Sorry to break some kayfabe here, guys, for those of you watching the show later on YouTube. But we are recording this on Saturday, the 25th of February. And that is the day that Three Legacies Wrestling went up on the premier streaming network. So you guys can finally watch our shows. Our first show that we did back in October is actually live now. There are 4 shows in the can, but only one is currently streaming as far as I know. But you guys can check that out. Main event is Delirious versus Savage Gentleman, and I'm calling the action along with my good friend Joey Image. So check us out.
There you go.
Plug for the...
Nice little plug there for Three Legacies. And then we're going to head over to Dan. Dan, tell us a little about you.
Hi, I'm Dan. I am the second in command of all the first things that Chris talked about. The CKCC stuff. I'm the lead, I guess, of the streaming part.
He's 50-50. He's not second in command. Come now.
And I currently have the coronavirus.
Well, you look good, so that helps.
We're gonna head over to Good Job Rob over here. Hey, Rob, tell us a little about you.
I'm Rob, otherwise known as Good Job Rob. Whenever we're doing any streaming, I have no command when it comes to any of this other stuff. They don't want to put me in charge of anything. I am also a sports journalist, and you may occasionally see me tweet something that kind of goes viral sometimes in hockey Twitter. So always keep an eye on that once in a while.
And now we're going to head over to my good friend, Sean. Sean, tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm Sean. I am a former indie wrestler here in the Boston area. I did a lot of stuff in the wrestling industry, locally with, announcing, wrestling, commentating, just setting up and basically doing everything, helping running promotions and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a pretty wild thing. So, me and a couple of other guys here apparently have a good insight of what we can look forward to in the wrestling world coming up for WrestleMania season. So I think we're going to get a good showing of ideas here of what we might expect from WWE and other indie promotions that might be in the area during that time. So WrestleMania season, a big season. So
were you a booker? Did you ever do booking?
I helped book a little bit.
Okay, my condolences. Okay,
thank you, appreciate it.
yeah.
Man, I'm literally every
nightmare. Don't ever do it again. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10.
Obviously, like when you're in the indies, you got to start off doing ring crew and stuff like that. So like the promotions that I worked for, like I was doing sound, I was doing visuals, I was doing editing, everything. So
yeah, we've all done it. It's been so much fun, but
it sucks.
don't friggin' look.
So much more stress.
I'll take down 100 rings before I ever try to make somebody happy.
Yeah,
in a friggin' locker room again. So, thankfully, that's Ricardo's business now. He handles all that.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's what I told him too.
So I wanna ask the big heavy hitting questions. Where do you guys think Jay White is gonna end up?
I was so hoping your first question was going to be about Bray Wyatt.
No,
that's the heavy hitting question for you.
Yeah.
So he's completely done with New Japan now because he lost the match against Eddie Kingston last weekend as well. So
yeah. So my personal opinion, I think he wouldn't do these matches if he was just going to end up, in either AEW or Impact because they have a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So to me, it just makes sense that he's going to end up in WWE, and that's either on WrestleMania or the Raw after WrestleMania.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me for him to just go to AEW. He's like, well, people are like, well, he started a thing with Eddie Kingston. I'm like, no, he really didn't. He just had a match that said, hey, you can't do shit with New Japan now. So, I don't know. I think it would just be weird for him to just go over to AEW and be like, so you can still do New Japan stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't really know where to think on that one. I honestly have no clue because Jay White's one of those people that honestly, like Matt, you and I have talked about this before, where like I honestly have no clue where Jay White's gonna end up. Could he be WWE bound? Yeah, obviously he really could be. But you know, I'm trying to think of a place of where they could put him. I mean, unless because obviously you know Jay White's got a faster style than some of these guys in WWE. So if you're gonna put him into WWE and put him into like a main roster like position. I don't know. I mean, some of these guys are a little bit slower in WWE, so I don't know. It's that whole like indie into WWE transition that I really have no clue what they're gonna do with him if he goes there.
I think the big problem I have is if he does go to AEW, how long until he just becomes another guy on the roster?
That's the other thing. I feel so many people are going to AEW and just becoming, and to AEW's booking, I really have, like, there's nothing going on right there.
I mean, I don't want to get into a whole thing on AEW's booking because we'll be here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
If you get me started on that. I'll just to summarize, their booking is not for me. That's the best way I can summarize it. And if you like it, that's great. I take nothing away from people who are fans. I have nothing against people on their roster. It's just one of those things I can't follow it. It stresses me out because I see through the holes and loops and everything. And one of the fun things about being a booker, even on independent level, is you have to tighten your stuff up. And I kind of feel like it's the exact opposite problem WWE has. WWE is too scripted, too protected, not enough freedom, and AEW is the exact opposite. Guys need to be more reined in. There needs to be more agents giving opinions on stuff. It's a very black and white difference. And there's pros and cons to both of them, honestly. Jay White in WWE, though, that's the thing. I don't think Jay White in WWE would be a bad thing, but I don't think he's going to come in and do what Cody did. I just don't think that's going to happen.
No.
See, I think it would be like more of a AJ Styles treatment, to be honest.
That was the exact what I was going to bring up in a second.
People know who Jay White is.
I don't think. Yeah, I think that's the other problem. I don't think enough people know Jay White when you compare it to an AJ Styles.
I saw him when he was a young boy, so I mean,
yeah, yeah, so did I. I remember.
If we're looking at like the absolute wrestling, the community that branches out past WWE, right? The absolute, rest of the people, except for the, just people skipping through the channels, turning on WWE, then yeah, they will probably know Jay White based on everything that's said about him and recent times and everything. It's just that when it comes to like you turn on WWE, I mean, New Japan isn't really shown over here unless you have the New Japan channels, like the streaming services. So I don't know what kind of treatment he'll have if he comes over to WWE.
You know what I would do with him? I would do the same thing they did when they first signed Walter. Put him somewhere where he can be dominant on a smaller scale, and then slowly bring him up. Yeah, because that's actually working out really well for Walter or Gunther.
What I wish that they would do in a way is kind of like bring back the vignettes. I miss having more vignettes because that would be a good way to introduce him before he even gets there. And just,
a great way to introduce somebody.
Exactly. But like, obviously people already knew about Bray Wyatt before those vignettes and everything started happening. So it's like, all right. But to have somebody like Jay White who they don't know about, like you really have to drive that home without kind of spoiling the surprise.
See, that's why I think he needs to debut on like one of the premium pay-per-views, like either a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam, because everyone will know who he is, because the people that go to those bigger premium events are the bigger diehard wrestling fans that pay attention to the indie scene, that pay attention to either AEW or Impact or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I'm just now starting to get into New Japan. So,
but then wouldn't that be a perfect opportunity for him to come in the Raw after Mania? Because that's the typical crowd you usually get. You get that international crowd that will pop for the things you're supposed to pop for.
that's true.
That's your ideal crowd, and it's in LA, so you're gonna have a collective group. You're gonna have a big venue. You can make a big deal out of that, and it's not like, I don't want this to be an AEW bashing session, but I feel like we can do that relatively easily. But like AEW brings a guy in, and it's almost like they assume that you have to know the guy. WWE can catch people up real quick if they need to. They've done it before. They're pretty damn good at it. They can put a video package together of someone in 3 minutes and make you all of a sudden feel hyped for a match you didn't know anything about beforehand.
You know what they should do? Put him against AJ Styles in his first program.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that too, because you can have who will be the leader of the OC, which is the Bullet Club in WWE.
In 1 month of television, the entire audience will be up to speed on Jay White just through promos against AJ, just the stuff that they'll jaw jack back and forth.
And you can also, if you wanted to, insert Finn into that too.
Well, yeah.
Into like that whole.
I think he'll be wrapped up with his current storyline by then. So
yeah, like because AJ's due to be back any day now, or any week. So it would make sense if like AJ Styles starts building like something with someone that hasn't joined the company yet. Like he could just do what, like, for instance, what Seth and all of them were hinting at before Cody joined. Like, he can, like, what's his name? What's that piece of shit's name? Corey Graves would be like, oh, it looks like Seth Rollins is at Crossroads right now for his WrestleMania opponent and stuff. Like, he could, like, they can do something like that where slowly hinting to the Switchblade.
AJ Styles is on the edge of the Switchblade.
I love, by the way, that you said that. What's that piece of shit's name? And we all sat there because we were like, well, you can go a couple different ways with this.
Yeah,
I was waiting for that. Where's he gonna go?
Like
just lean in.
Listen, everyone,
shorten it for us a little bit, please.
Listen, you all know my hatred for Corey Graves, so like, I will call him a piece of shit every fucking day. I don't care if people love him or whatever. Dude's a piece of shit. I feel like he goes past the boundaries when it comes to his commentating, I should say. Especially with what he brought up with Gigi Dolan when she was on the main roster for one night. That kind of just pushed the limits for me. So,
I don't even remember what was said for that.
He pretty much insinuated. So her parents abused her when she was So he pretty much along the line said that like she's gonna get a beating worse than she got from her parents or something like that.
Ouch.
Yeah. So
GP, that's all it comes down to.
And everyone's like, well, he is a heel commentator. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. You don't say that shit. That's too...
Not on live TV. No, you don't.
Well, I got blocked on Twitter by JBL for calling him a piece of shit when he bullied Mauro Ranallo.
Oh, he is a massive piece of shit. And I'm so mad because he won't come back until... Like, he won't come back. And Mario is a fantastic announcer.
Well, then it proves my point, so...
What are you guys' thoughts on AEW's reality TV series that's coming out now?
Waste of time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Honestly, nothing to do with even AEW. I think most of those wrestling reality series are waste of time. I think the docuseries is where it's at, and you know, I know that the Total Divas thing did well for the company, but nobody's done well since then. Even when you did get something actually entertaining like Miz and Maurice, it still doesn't do that well. I just don't think it's a winning formula, and I think it'll be less. It's only going to be there being the elite crowd is going to watch it. So,
well, my question is, so they showed like the list of people that's going to be in it, or like starring in it, and Kenny Omega's not starring in it. Do you think that's a little bit surprising that he's not? And
yes and no.
And that according to, I fucking hate Dave Meltzer, but according to his group and stuff over at the
Why?
WON.
Why do you hate him? I don't understand.
That is a negative 2-star comment there, Matthew.
It was a negative 100 stars. Let's be real. He brought up that AEW is putting on the injury time for his contract, and his contract, instead of being up, that was supposed to be up in January, is now up in November. Do you think that is also possible the reason why he wasn't on the show too?
My understanding is Omega didn't want anything to do with Roads to the Top either.
Okay.
So maybe there's a possibility fans are just reading too much into this. Maybe he just doesn't want to be a reality show guy.
Well, then
I think he's happy focusing on the video game.
Mm-hmm.
So
What video game?
the AEW come out never.
AEW wait forever? Yeah.
Wait forever.
I think it's so funny with Kenny Omega because, like, if you ever watch kind of like videos outside of being the elite, or you know, like case in point, right? There's that doctor, like the chiropractor dude, the Hausenberg or whatever the hell his name is. Right. That dude had Kenny Omega on at one point, and like just kind of watching Kenny Omega outside of the wrestling promo, you know, like, you know, being the elite style where he's just surrounded by his friends, he's kind of awkward. Yeah. He does seem a little bit awkward. So I mean, like, you know, when you pull away Kenny Omega and just bring out like Tyson, it's like,
yeah, everybody I know in wrestling who's met him has said the exact same thing. Right. He's a very nice guy. He's awkward AF.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody I know who's ever met him has said that.
So when it comes to like this AEW, I honestly have no interest in the reality show that AEW is doing. I have zero interest whatsoever. I don't think it's a big enough company yet to do it. I know that they're the main rivals, but that's because they're backed by money. But like, I don't know, I'm looking at like AEW now, and I'm, you know, watching their first 3 years or 4 years of their company. I'm seeing less interest in that than I would have in TNA and, you know, Impact Wrestling back when they first started in their first year.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine Dixie Carter doing a reality show? Good God. Meet the Carters.
Listen, you guys gotta understand, AEW is doing very good in their viewership, all right? 4 million views per second. That's what they get, man, you know?
I watch Being the Elite, and I see the crowds that they have at these shows, and I'm like, this is terrible. And even to that, like the shows that they've brought around here to Boston, like when they go to a place like the Agganis Arena, they're not selling out half of that place, and that's not even a half the size of the TD Garden.
I think they only had like 2,000 people at that show.
It's like, I think it's like 5,000 capacity, 4,000.
I thought it was
like
9.
6,000?
I thought it was 9.
It might be. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how big the TD Garden is, because it really is only like half the size.
TD Garden is 18,000.
So yeah, it would probably be about 8,000 or 9,000 capacity.
I mean, I don't work there. I can't judge. I've talked to people who have been there, friends of mine who have worked there or even worked dark matches. There's a very big general consensus that the biggest detriment to that company is the guy that's funding it. Because
you mean Hugs McGee?
Cocaine Bear.
The Snowman.
Snowman.
And my
favorite
God.
one is Snowman.
Oh my God, the other day when Rob made the Cocaine Bear joke, I friggin' spit laughed. when you said that's Tony's name on Grindr, and I almost I lost my mind laughing. That was literally like a burst out loud, you know, in the darkness of my own house, scare the shit out of my cats. Burst out laughter.
And like we said, we're not trying to bash AEW, but like,
no.
I love some of the stuff that they do. I do enjoy some of the matches. Some of like the people that are over there. Some of the workers are fantastic. But I think some of the things that they do, some of the things that they do that really annoy me, right, are the fact that, one, there's no continuity in storylines. Like, there's really no storyline. Going into Revolution next week or this coming week, there is nothing going for it. Even this Death Triangle versus, or what is it? It's a House of Black.
House of Black, yeah.
Versus the Elite. It's like there's nothing really. They just started building that up a week ago, with one Bray Wyatt-esque thing that Matt pointed out to me, being like, "Oh, here's the flash of House of Black's logo on the back screen, and that's it." Like, so that's one of the things that annoys me. The fact I have no problem with them bringing in indie people, but they need to kind of pull back on how many indie people they bring, because every match is like a squash match now. It's like you watch it come back from commercial and you go, there's a person already in the ring. We have no clue who that is. They're losing. And then it's like 2 minutes. And it doesn't help build anybody, really.
Squash matches
In
are
my
great
opinion.
when you use them on the same person week after week and build them up slowly. They get somebody over. But when it's just wrestler A has squash match, and next week wrestler B has squash match, and wrestler A is not even on TV, you're not building anybody.
No.
It's
Exactly.
booking 101.
Well, I
So,
mean,
and I have tons of friends that have been on AEW so far. Like
So do I, and I'm
Plenty of
super happy for them. But and they all tell me the same thing when they get back. It seems like a very friendly environment. People get along, but it's also they feel like it's very schizo.
Yeah.
It's very
over the
like
place.
schizophrenic, all over the place.
well, they
feeling
got
there.
Cocaine Bear. They got Cocaine Bear. What do you want? What do you want? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like Tony Khan is a very also awkward human being. Like, he hugs every single person that he signs, and the hug is just, it makes me cringe every time that I see him hug.
When he like
Because-
cry hug Claudia.
Yeah, like when he did that, like Claudio just looked so uncomfortable. And then like people pointed out, like, because I forget who Triple H hugged. I think he was hugging Sammy. When he gave Sammy a hug during the press conference, everyone was like, well, what's the difference of this with Tony Khan's hug? I'm like, Tony Khan is crying with whoever the fuck he signs. That's
Here's the-
weird.
Here's the difference with Tony, because I went to it was a show that was supposed to be the first Blood and Guts. It got postponed because of the pandemic. They brought a show back there. They did a Dynamite. They filmed a Rampage there. They filmed Dark, and they filmed Dark Elevation all in one night. Century Overload, you were there forever, and they gave you nothing spectacular. But what they did give you was multiple segments that were not shown on air, where Tony Khan came out and got a pop. And it was like, could you imagine Vince McMahon coming out like to get people to chant for him? Could you imagine just like, could you imagine the Fink being like, hey everyone, let's go chant for Vince McMahon? Like, but they have to like thank Tony Khan every time there's a show. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, if you just want to play with dolls, like we all did when we were kids, and like batch them all together and pretend like we're booking, that's one thing. But this is a man who doesn't have dolls. He has millions of dollars to buy the real people and have them do this stuff instead. That's what we're looking at.
You're right. And it's just, I feel like he needs to, does he even have like a creative team, or is it just him?
I don't
it's
know.
Mostly just him. Honestly.
Mostly just him. So he's pulling the Vince McMahon, according to a lot of people. He's pulling the, like, I'm the head of creative and there's really not much input from anybody else. That's what I've been reading from reports and different things that I've been seeing online.
I feel like
news
he lets a
medias.
lot of the guys pitch their own ideas, and he doesn't really say no to a lot of them.
It's very Eric Bischoff in WCW in like 1998, but like that eventually wore itself out. You ran out of ideas. They were literally writing things on the fly, and you realized that this was all turning into a bunch of crap. So if it's not already there, it's on its way there. We're getting closer and closer to the closest thing we've seen to WCW in 2000.
We're getting
But
towards Russo
Right down
era.
to the money and everything else. So
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like, when it comes to Bischoff and WCW, by the time that it got to this, Bischoff was already on his way out.
sure.
He already realized that he was on a sinking ship and jumped. So Tony Khan he just really needs to pull it back a little bit.
WB wants to liquidate all their sports stuff that they're doing, and if they count AEW as sports, what happens to them now? Like, are they going to have to find a new network? Are they going to have to create their own streaming service? I don't want them to fail. Like, every time.
I never want a company to fail.
No, absolutely.
Just
And I
get
think
better.
that's a big problem that the quote unquote elitists, when it comes to All Elite Wrestling, their fans, anytime somebody has a creative bash of AEW, and it could be anybody, even the famous people that turn them down, Eric Bischoff, Jim Cornette, even friggin' Disco Inferno, Kevin Nash, all these big guys being critics, They're just like, they just want to see them all fail. They want all these guys to not have jobs. No, they don't. Nobody wants to see them fail. They want to see them do good. They're just frustrated because the pieces are there and they're not in the right spots. That's the thing.
Bischoff on his podcast has already said, and this was almost a year ago that he said this, that AEW needs to refigure out what the hell they're doing, because they are, when you have Eric Bischoff, who has been in this position before of having a competitive market against WWE, the legitimate promotion against WWE that could have taken them down.
Mm-hmm.
You have that guy sitting there going, learn from my mistakes.
Right.
That was almost a year ago, and they're doing worse off now than they were a year ago. Yep. It's like, if you're not listening to Bischoff, who has been in this position before, and you're not listening to the guys that were around in WCW when it went down, you need to reevaluate something there.
Oh, and that's another thing that drives me nuts when people are like, Tony Khan shouldn't listen to any of these guys. Bischoff failed a promotion. Cornette's an old man out of touch. Disco Inferno never did anything. What has Tony Khan done in the wrestling business?
I don't know. The only person that I would say against that was Disco Inferno. I just really don't care for Disco Inferno.
Yeah, but he's still entitled to his opinion because he did it longer than Tony.
He's still entitled to his opinion.
So's Russo. So's Russo. That holds the least amount of weight, but
yeah, I don't like Russo either.
Well,
now my question is
relatively popular.
Now my question is, do you think it would help him if he made a creative team instead of just mainly him doing everything?
Yes, with an asterisk.
Yeah,
who's on the creative team
on payroll. I mean, look at all the experience of people that they've brought in over the years, and they don't want to listen to their advice. They don't want to ask Jim Ross for advice. They don't want to ask Paul White for advice. Like, imagine bringing in all these people and saying, "No, we know what we're talking about."
Didn't Omega and Hangman Page get like massive heat for both of them saying at different points, "We don't take advice"?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, what the hell? From Jim Ross? Shit. I would literally just sit down and be like, okay, JR, tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do.
It's like, why are some of those people even there, right? Like,
imagine having Jake the Snake Roberts in your
Arn Anderson.
Yeah, right.
Billy Gunn.
Why did you hire these people if you're
Dean
not going to do the
right.
main thing they're there to do?
Like, my God, just...
Shit, even the one night that Bret Hart was there, like, Bret Hart could probably have given some people advice.
Sure.
And you know what? You could say whatever you want to about CM Punk and whether or not he's actually an asshole in the locker room, but people didn't want to listen to him either.
Right.
And he was a legitimate draw that they had.
My question with CM Punk, my question with CM Punk is, do you think all the shit that Seth Rollins is saying about him is a shoot?
No.
No, because I don't know. Here's the thing with Seth. The last like 3 times he pulled shit like this, that guy came back.
Yeah.
So I don't trust Seth right now, because he either knows something that we don't, or he knows he's screwing with us in the worst possible way. So I don't trust Seth right now.
Those were on what, like BT
I love Seth. I love Seth's nasally ass evil villain laugh. Seth is
Waluigi. Yeah.
Yes, his Waluigi laugh. Yes.
I just love the frickin' Yoshi boots that he had on.
Seth Waluigi. Oh my God! Yeah, the
fantastic.
Yoshi boots. And then that became a friggin' meme too.
Love it. It's fantastic. I love everything that Seth Rollins is doing right now.
I love Seth Rollins in general. I think he's hysterical. I think he's such a good heel. He's what the Miz wishes he was right now.
Is he a heel right now?
No, he's a face right now.
Yeah, I think he's a face. I don't really know anymore.
Oh, I can't really tell.
He's kind of a tweener at this point.
Yeah, I would say
he's back and forth. It really depends on who he's up against. But I mean, yeah, there's hints of, hey, we just don't know whether to put you as, because he's getting the face pop, but even when he's trying to be a heel, so he's a tweener at this point.
He's in that rare point now where people are just going to pop for what he does because of how good he is.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And I completely understand that. Like, all right, I got a topic I want to throw out there.
Okay.
Can somebody please explain to me why Jon Moxley thinks it's a good idea to bleed in every match?
I hate it.
it's
every match.
I think his name is Louis Dangor or whatever on Twitter. He brought it up that it's losing its effect, like its wow factor. Like that's why like when it happens in WWE, it's like, oh shit, this isn't supposed to happen. This is a big moment. This person's bleeding. Whereas
It's not supposed to happen.
Yeah,
in
'cause it's not
WWE.
supposed to.
They stop it immediately.
Yep.
but we're in AEW, it's like every single person's like, oh god, let me get on camera showing that I'm cutting myself right now to bleed.
Oh my god, if they show one more person gigging on camera, I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's the
driving
other
me
thing.
nuts.
They're oh my god, they're
And Jericho, of all people, my all-time favorite wrestler, but he should absolutely know better.
I mean, just the way that their team is, like the production team, the fact that you have all of these, the way that the production trucks work, for anybody that doesn't know, is the fact that you've got all these monitors and you see all the different angles. Why are you going to choose the worst possible angle when you know that somebody is going to blade? Why? If the production team should be just as much in, you know, in the loop as the people producing the match, because they need to know what
to
angle is the best one
consistently
to
get it wrong.
Right, it's terrible. Like they're using like students.
Say what you want to about Kevin Dunn, because I hate his jump cuts, but when he gets something on camera he knows he shouldn't have, he cuts away from that shit immediately.
Yeah, I also wonder if AEW has the same delay that WWE has, because WWE I think is on a 4-second or 5-second delay, whereas AEW I have no clue if they even have a delay.
They're on some kind of delay because they do drop a lot of F-bombs that get censored, but they also let a lot of stuff fly, so I have no idea. And that's another thing. It's the same complaint I had with WWE doing the gimmick match pay-per-views. Everything lost its luster. Hell in the Cell doesn't mean anything anymore. Thankfully, that's the last year they were going to do that stuff. And now, the next time we get a Hell in a Cell, the next time we get an Elimination Chamber after this pay-per-view, because that's done, a TLC match, they're going to mean something again because we're not going to see them for a while.
Hallelujah.
And that's cool. That's the way it should be.
Hallelujah. It's now just Backlash again. Thank God.
Yeah. But with that said, AEW is doing the same thing. Blood doesn't mean anything. Cursing doesn't mean anything because everybody does it. So there's no shock value there.
Let's go back to the original question that Matt posed on this. I mean, when it comes to the bleeding for Jon Moxley, my thing with Mox is I think that, I don't know, maybe in the way that he is a deathmatch guy. It's just like, you know, everybody's probably looking at it going, oh, well, he's a deathmatch guy. I don't think he knows how to pull himself out of being a deathmatch guy anymore. Because it's just like, you don't have to, you know, get hit with something. I've been hit by a kendo stick. It does not cause you to bleed. No. Unless it really gets you. But, like, you would have to get hit a multiple, you know, like, 5-10 times, which sucks.
Get hit in the right spot, like
just to a pinch, you know, to have it. Because
I watch a lot of the Royal Rumbles over and over again because it's one of my favorite matches, and that Tommy Dreamer kendo stick shot to Jericho's head where it just friggin' that's just bleeding. That's the exception to the rule.
Yeah, the hardest part of that kendo stick is the top, and when that thing hits you, it frickin' sucks.
Yeah,
I remember getting hit by a kendo stick in the back, and I had a welt of, like, you could see every string holding that thing together underneath the actual like cover, and I was like, man, that sucks. It really hurt. But you know, that's my point, is I think that Mox just doesn't know how to not be a death guy anymore, and it's, you know, it really is detrimental in a way because AEW isn't all death matches. It really shouldn't be. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people are realizing. If you want to go watch GCW, go for it. It's deathmatch, but the normal person wanting to watch wrestling doesn't want to watch deathmatch. I personally don't care for deathmatch. It makes me cringe in a way. I don't care for it. I mean, it's cool to like watch people get thrown all around and everything, but like it's not my cup of tea. So to have AEW, you know, brandishing that for the first year of their existence, almost every week was a deathmatch, and even nowadays, everything is. Freaking Hangman Page came out with barbed wire wrapped around his arm the other night. Like, you know, we don't need that. You can hit a buckshot lariat and just knock the guy out.
I thought that was cowboy shit.
Cowboys
use barbed wire. So,
so you got to hem him in.
It's just, I think that they need to cut back on it a little bit. The blood and make these matches mean something, because they really don't mean anything anymore.
And okay, I know that like in this day and age, TV ratings don't mean what they used to mean. Everybody can pretty much agree with that. But when your company is so insistent on going off of ratings and the key demo, which I hear that all the time, do you guys realize? Do they realize their ratings go down every time this stuff happens? You look at those quarter-to-quarter breakdowns and look at where they lose 100,000 people. It's over stuff like that.
Chris,
It makes me nuts.
the peak of their deathmatch existence was when they had a frickin' pizza cutter with a Pizza Hut commercial going on in the background.
That was amazing. That was friggin' amazing. I laughed about that for weeks. That was incredible.
Listen, Chris, you gotta
Such
understand.
good timing.
You know who didn't laugh about it? Pizza Hut.
Yeah, Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut did not laugh.
Chris, you gotta understand. They get 4 million viewers. Okay, they don't give a shit about.
I'm not over that one either.
So to piggyback off of the whole Moxley stuff, do you think it's time for him to have like a character change? Like it just seems stale now. Like he just seems very stale. Like kind of how I feel Bianca Belair is stale now. Like I personally feel she needs to drop the title at Mania. Like I think she's gone stale. She either needs to turn heel or do something different.
It's not the same thing, but it's the same basic principle. She's got the issue where, because this is something we learned in training school, and I'm sure Sean learned this too, different expressions for different matches. Okay, her shtick is to come out skipping to the ring and twirling her hair. We get that. But when you're coming out for a main event match to defend your title against somebody in a blood feud, game face. Put the game face on. Show that you're serious. That little bit of body language makes all the difference, and she has never done it one time. And it gets kind of annoying because that's one thing that the horsewomen of WWE excelled at. And the one who's really good at it right now is Bayley.
Yes,
Bayley comes out with a game face, and you know exactly what type of mood she's in the second she walks through the curtain. Because if she does not, she either has the cocky look on her face or she's death glaring you. And Becky got really good at that too.
The Bianca Belair, she wasn't really. I love Bianca Belair for her physicality and all that. Like she can do great things in the ring.
Oh yeah, she's a great worker. Don't get me wrong.
Great worker, and I hear she's a fantastic person. But when it comes to like you were saying, Chris, the expressions, just take it back to Cody Rhodes when he was coming out for Hell in a Cell, right? That little tiny change. If you watch the interviews about him coming out for that, his original plan was to drop the jacket when he got to the top of the ramp. Holding on to that jacket and taking it off in the ring made it so much better. So like any little tiny change in expression or just anything in general could change the entire attitude of it. And Bianca Belair right now, like Matt was saying, is just stale. Nothing changing. It's just the same thing over and over every week, coming out, spinning to piggyback off of this, just a quick side note. She please get disqualified when she uses her frickin' hair for a whip. Like that, it's no different than somebody taking out a whip and just qualify her for that. Like I just hate it.
That welt she gave Sasha in their main event match was so disgusting. Like,
literally, it made an actual whip crack.
It made an actual whip crack.
It's like I don't think that should be something that she should be able to use.
And I've heard people tell me that well, they actually enhanced the sound effect when it happened, so it didn't sound like that. I said, people were there live said it made a noise. That's all I need to hear. I don't care if they enhanced it. Yeah. She made a noise.
Yeah. Thank you.
That better be dust. That better be dust in this room. That better not be a friggin' orb.
That looked like a ghost orb to me. I was about to go to Sean. I was about to be like, hey Sean, so do we think that's a dust orb or a ghost orb?
That's it. I gotta burn the fucking house down. I'm grabbing the cat. Grabbing the cat and jumping out the fucking window. That's it.
Stage the hell out of it. That's all.
That's good. I gotta go wake up my wife and be like, ghost in the house, grab the cats, let's go.
She needs a heel to be like hair on the line. title.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Give me the hair.
Where's
Or-
Molly when we need her?
Give
Or
me the hair.
she needs to turn and just start whipping people with it, and that becomes like her heel thing. Is that she uses her hair as like a heel tactic? That's
Find
that's
every time
what
you do
it
it.
should be used as. Yeah.
Something needs to change. Like I was even, I even thought that like Sasha Banks was getting boring. 'Cause there was really no change. It was the
Becky
same
Lynch.
thing for years.
And
Becky
I love
Lynch,
Becky, but she got
When-
stale.
and then she changed, and now
Yep.
she's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she changed again.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
the man got stale, and then she changed that too.
Right, now it's like you got these freaking crazy outfits that you're coming out with, and now she's
Also,
Batman.
I'm just gonna say this to pop a couple of my friends that I know are gonna be watching this. But yes, Becky is the man when it comes to her and Seth.
Dude, that WrestleMania commercial is fantastic.
Oh, the Joker spot
Yeah.
was amazing. Yeah. To
What are you
all,
doing?
to all my
Joker
friends,
dance?
to all
What's
my
with-
friends who just watched that, you're welcome for the pop. By the way,
Why are you using that voice?
It's fantastic.
I gotta go back to the man cave. We have a man cave?
You would know about it because I'm the man.
'Cause I'm,
Oh, she is the man.
love it.
Fantastic. I really enjoyed those back in the early 2000s. By the way, 2005 was fantastic.
Yep, the originals. My
Yeah.
only issue that I actually have with the ones they're doing this year is that they announced what they're going to be, and I like the spontaneity of the
Right.
ones in
Yeah.
the past. Like all of a sudden, the bus pulls away, and there's Eugene sitting on a bench with a box of chocolates, and I friggin' popped. I popped huge for that.
Forgot all
I-
about that one.
I popped for that one. I'm trying to remember if there was any bad ones.
There
I
wasn't
think
a
they
bad
were all
one.
pretty good.
Even like the
They
Royal
did-
Rumble ones were good too. Like when they did the whole musical theme for the Rumble.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one
the,
year?
the West Side Story one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
West
that's the
Side
one, you know, the one where one.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was that the best part about that because Vince had a nightmare. It was his nightmare, and then the actual Rumble happened, and he tore his quads. So maybe he should have stayed in bed. Just throwing that out there.
Should just stay in the back. Called
I
it
just
to the-
rewatched that
to
one
the rap.
recently too because I was rewatching a couple of the early 2000 Rumbles because a bunch of those are good, and they did the actual like the West Coast Rumble spot in the match where it was like the 4 Raw guys and SmackDown guys, and then Muhammad Hassan comes out and they all toss him. I'm like, all right, that was actually a pretty fun spot, but then the end happens with Batista, greased up Batista going over the top rope with John Cena, and
Now-
Vince tears his quads.
He should have
It was
stayed in the
fantastic.
back. There was a hurricane coming through.
I love the hurricane.
Hurricane wasn't in that one. And yet, yes, he
No, it
was.
wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Was he?
He showed up right at the beginning when Benoit and Eddie were taking Pewter to the woodshed, and Hardcore Holly got involved. Hurricane was the next guy that came out, and I'm like, you're right, they're gonna beat up the poor Hurricane too. He doesn't deserve this. He's a veteran. Leave him alone.
To bring up because Sean brought up Sasha. So it recently just came out that Mercedes Moné has 2 dates left with New Japan. Now, recently Meltzer, I think it was Meltzer, brought up that WWE, yes, they want Jay White, but they're trying to get a bigger free agent. Do you guys think that Sasha Banks is who he might be talking about?
Who else would be a free agent? That's my question.
I
Just won the title.
yeah.
I don't think she needs to go back to WWE right now. I don't think. Let me
doesn't she
change
have
this.
her heart set on Stardom anyway? That's my
So
impression.
she's working with Stardom, isn't she? No.
Yeah.
She's working with. She's
It's
not
New
working with
Japan
Stardom
and
yet.
Stardom. But,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I thought she made it pretty clear she has her heart set on staying there for a little bit.
My thing is
So-
that I personally don't think that WWE needs her yet.
Yeah.
I don't think that, if anything, like, she needs to be on the indie scene for a while. She needs to build up whatever she's doing and then go back because I feel like it's way too fresh. I don't think they need to capitalize on it yet.
No, I think right now the big focus is they've still got Becky and Charlotte around, and I know that now the rumors are that Charlotte might be wanting to step away too. But
Again?
well, yeah, that's been kind of rumored too. So now your new top star is gonna be Rhea, and she's gonna lead the next generation of the women talent, I think.
I would love that. I have no problem with Rhea Ripley.
Rhea, and again, you've got the rise of Asuka again. Liv Morgan, now having the best run of her career. Alexa's going to go back to the dark side and be with Bray Wyatt again. So that's going to build her up. And then and that's another thing. I miss the hell out of Naomi, but I don't think her going back is a good idea either, because I don't think they got a spot for her.
I don't think so either.
I think she would go to waste. I didn't.
And she's like Natty for me. The fact that they've wasted Natalya and Naomi actively makes me mad, because those two girls should have been on top for at least
Natalya
6
has
months run.
3 Guinness World Records, including winningest woman in WWE history. Yet she hasn't won anything in 10 years.
Oh well, yeah, that's great when you wrestle at house shows and dark matches and you get all those W's on those things. That's like the AEW records where it's like, how the hell does Brandon Cutler have 50 losses? I'm like, oh, that's right, because they count all that shit, which is fine. I'm not saying don't count it, but it just makes it so weird when you read about it.
We also can't forget that Roxanne will be potentially coming up soon too. She's already
Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah,
she's getting a big push out of this.
We got Roxanne, we got Raquel, we have Shotzi. Yep. She's improving every day. You have Tegan Knox back. Tegan Knox is back. A lot more focus
on Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross is probably getting Sanity back together. It's a lot of stuff is happening in the women's division that I don't think a lot of people realize is happening. So they want all these people back, but they don't realize that Triple H is building these women up and is finally doing everything that needs to be done. And he's bringing Lita back, he's getting Trish back. They're going to be wrestling. They're going to be wrestling Damage Control most likely at WrestleMania, which is going to be a big match, especially for Dakota Kai and Io Sky.
Yeah, those are going to be them over big time.
Those are going to be
the running joke with the women's Royal Rumble when it was going was that they would throw the Vicky Guerreros or whoever into the ring, and it would just be they'd have these comedy spots. Did they have one last month? It was the 30 people.
The only legend, Chelsea Green, but she's doing a hell of a job with her new gimmick.
Absolutely.
I love her new gimmick.
Great gimmick.
But that quick thing helped with the gimmick.
Yeah.
So the comedy spot helped her. Yeah, they don't. I think they had a really serious women's rumble this year.
Yeah, there was no Vicky, there was no Santina Marella, nothing we don't have anyone just throw a spot there. I mean, the men had more wasted spots. They threw Booker T in there, and I don't mean to say anything ill about Booker T, but
it made him actually hang it up.
He's I can't do this no more, dog.
He's like, I'm getting rid of my boots and my pads and my trunks. I'm done.
And to say what you're saying about the women's division, I'll just outright say it. I'm sorry. They have outgrown Ronda Rousey completely.
I agree.
They don't need her anymore. They don't need her.
They don't. Even Shayna Baszler's outgrown Ronda.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the Shayna turn on Ronda. It needs to happen.
I'm going to pop for it.
Shayna will get a massive pop, and it will bring her back to her level that she was at when she was in NXT. They need that.
Yep.
And it's going to happen. It's going to be great. Go ahead.
To that comment, I don't think it will. And that's the problem, because I think that people just don't care about Ronda enough now that it's really going to do nothing when Shayna turns.
I don't know. I think there's enough hatred with Ronda now that Shayna turning on her will at least get a big pop for Shayna.
Yeah, I feel like it'll get a pretty decent one. I don't know how... It's not going to be thunderous. It's just,
It's not going to be Sammy hitting Roman with the chair.
No, nothing's going to beat that nowadays.
No, that pop was insane. That was Mankind winning the title level of pop. I popped for that. That's another thing that Ricardo's always been really proud of. The pop that Ziggler got when he cashed in on Alberto, because obviously Ricardo was there for that. He's it still gives me chills when I think about that moment.
Well, it's funny that happened, and then 2 days later, it was they were in Boston, and I was there. I was like, "Oh man, this is great!"
What year was that?
2013,
because that was the
13 or 11.
The Ziggler cash-in was 13 because that was WrestleMania 29, and I was at that one.
Yes.
I watched
the Raw after too.
Yeah, I watched the Ziggler cash-in from my hotel room in Fayetteville, North Carolina, because I stopped for the night on my way back to Florida because I was stupidly living in that state for 6 years.
Hey, I know how that feels.
Matt, we right here, buddy. we survived. We survived.
So real quick on the free agent talk that I brought up, Kota Ibushi is a free agent.
But Kota Ibushi doesn't sign anywhere. That's been his thing.
So
He
that's
doesn't sign because he doesn't.
As a
like
matter of
being
fact, the
tied down.
last time he signed somewhere, it went very poorly, as in just now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not going to be Kota Ibushi. And I know he's got his fans, but I don't think he's technically a bigger free agent than Jay White.
No.
Not at this
Kota
stage,
hasn't
anyway.
wrestled in a year and a half.
Yeah. They can't be talking about Omega because he's not a free agent.
I think originally they were because no one knew about his contract.
Yeah.
And
So maybe.
And then Fightful brought up about how there's a lot of big people in WWE that think there's a good chance Omega will come over. And so I think when that leaked out, that's when all of a sudden his contract got leaked out, and with the whole, it got extended to November.
Mhm.
I think I think he sees the writing on the wall with AEW, and I can see him jumping ship too. Will he? Probably not, but he was almost signed before AEW became a thing. Like, he almost signed
I
it.
wouldn't be surprised if Cody and him are still talking, and Cody's convincing him to.
Cody pretty much admitted it, and so did
Yeah.
Kenny.
Wait, talking to who? Kenny?
Yeah.
I honestly,
they're talking.
oh, they definitely do, because like when Rhodes did his interview, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, it was Ariel Awani. When he was doing that,
Biased
he said that
journalist.
he's still, yeah,
Unbiased.
He said, I don't follow him enough to understand why everybody hates on him right now. But yeah, so Cody said that he's still great friends with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and he still, doesn't really talk to Punk anymore, but he was always friendly with Punk. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely still talking with the AEW people all the time. It's not like they're not talking. It's not like they're not friends. They still are great friends, he says. So I really do think that, if Omega's trying to get out of AEW, then yeah, WWE would be probably the place it goes to. And
Hey, listeners, Sean and I are going to let you in on a little secret out here. Everybody in wrestling talks.
yeah, no shit.
Hey, we talk, okay? We fucking talk.
That's a thing.
We do. Yep. You know it. You've
Yeah,
been in
no,
plenty of
it's-
locker rooms. You know.
Yep.
Everybody talks.
Plenty of locker rooms. Yeah, I know. And the good things and the bad things. So,
Oh yeah, you hear a lot of good stuff. And
Yeah.
by good, I mean juicy shit.
yeah. And then you hear all the drama shit too, and it's like, yeah, that never happened. Hold on.
Oh, I have a quick story I want to tell you guys from not the last show because I was doing commentary for it, but the one before that when I was actually in the locker room. Shout out to Richie Nightmare, who's been on the last three Legacy shows and will be on the next one too because the whole card's been announced. Richie Nightmare. I don't remember who his opponent was. I feel kind of bad about that. But kid comes up to him right before they go out the curtain. He goes, "Hey man, good luck tonight." And Nightmare goes, "Good luck. Fuck you." Like jokingly, like go fuck yourself. Good luck. Oh shit! Wait, I'm a babyface tonight. So puts out his hand and goes, "You have a wonderful time out there, sir." we all fucking died laughing.
That's great.
Oh, we all died laughing at that one. He's like, "Shit, I'm a babyface this time." All right, you be safe too, sir. Like, it's so friggin' funny.
Sean,
I love working with him.
Sean,
His kids are hustlers, by the way. They were running his merch stand, and anytime anybody would walk by, his 6-year-old son's like, "Hey, you, come buy Richie Nightmare stuff."
I think the funniest thing about like selling merch is the fact that a buddy of mine we did a it sucks, but yeah, I remember just a quick story. A buddy of mine, me and a group of people, we all went up to Canada for a tour up in Nova Scotia. We did a 3-day tour in Nova Scotia, and me and my buddy just sat there and we were like, you know what, screw it, we're gonna be, because we were heels anyway. We were like, you know what, we're gonna be the really stupid Americans. Like, just
There you go.
when we go up there, we decked out. We had fanny packs, sunglasses that had the American flags on it.
Yes.
We were wearing USA
Yes.
USA hats and shit. So we were doing that, and we went up
Love
there
this.
because we are such jackasses, we're sitting there making fun of the Canadians, and they were buying our shit. So, like, we're sitting there being like, yeah, no, America's the greatest thing. Yeah, screw you, Eskimos up here. And then they're buying our stuff just because they liked it. And I was like, damn, we made out good today.
Canadians remind me of my home state of New Jersey in the respect that people in New Jersey have so much stupid pride for that state, but they all absolutely hate it.
Yeah, no, that's
growing up there, I can tell you, Rob, can you back me up on that one?
Yeah.
Like, no. We hate New Jersey. You don't. You.
We're allowed to hate New Jersey.
Yeah. You shut the hell up.
Right.
Now, living in Pennsylvania, I don't really give a shit when people bash Pennsylvania because you're absolutely right. PennDOT sucks and the potholes suck. So.
It's a shithole, but it's our shithole.
And my God, the next time I'm stuck behind a fucking New Yorker taking a picture of a horse and buggy, I'm gonna ram him off the goddamn road.
So my next question is, who do you guys think is gonna be the next NXT call-up?
Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker? Or Sean, do you think it's gonna be your buddy Carmelo Hayes?
Oh, I like Carmelo Hayes.
Man, I'm proud of that kid. Like, I remember being in locker rooms with him back when he first started because he's a local guy to us.
Yeah.
It's like him and I, back when he first started wrestling, he had a Michael Jackson gimmick. And look him up. Look him up. Michael Jackson. Yeah, so his name was Kid Thriller Christian Casanova. And Christian's a good dude.
Great name.
Right. But, so...
I love that gimmick.
So my thing with to answer your question first and then go into the story, I think Braun's going to be the next call-up. Just because they're poising him to be that, that muscle guy that comes up and wrecks
He's
shit.
so friggin' good too.
He is good. He's definitely need to get out of this reign.
He's outworking the entire NXT roster right now, and it shows.
So I really hope...
So isn't Carmelo though. Carmelo's outworking everyone too.
So here's the thing.
Right.
The last NXT after Breaker beat Jinder Mahal, they cut away to a back segment, but actually what happened was Breaker was looking up into the rafters, and there's Carmelo Hayes standing there and looking at him, and like, dude's sitting there doing this. And I'm like, if Christian wins this fucking title, if Carmelo wins this title, I am going to pop so hard because the kid, he deserves it so much. But yeah, so back when we were wrestling in the early 2010s, I remember being on shows. Like I started with this company, Northeast Championship Wrestling, in 2013, and Christian Casanova, he was with us, and he had this Michael Jackson gimmick, and he would come out and he would try to dance like Michael Jackson, which was okay. Yeah, he'd do a moonwalk on the apron and then get into the ring and spin around and go, who's bad, and throw his arms up and all. Got over so well. I remember one day in the back talking to him as we were about ready to go out for a match. And I was managing my buddies at the time. I was telling him, I was like, dude, you know what you should do? You need to incorporate some of that dancing into your moves. He's like, well, what do you mean? Like, I don't really know how to dance like that. And I go, well, the problem is with me that when Michael Jackson died, I taught myself how to do it. So let's do some stuff here. And I was showing him some moves and everything. And then I think it was like 6 months later after that, his trainer over at New England Pro Wrestling Academy told him to completely drop the gimmick and go into like being for the brand. And so I was like, shit, everything I just taught him is just like now out of the way. But it's led into his Carmelo Hayes era now. Like when they picked him up as Christian Casanova and turned him into Carmelo Hayes, like, man, I'm waiting for his old gear to come back too, because it was so cool looking.
All I'm picturing right now is him getting guy in a DDT position and just moonwalking like 3 steps and then just DDT.
I told him to do that.
I mean, I'd pop huge for that.
I also told him at one point, I was like, you know what you should do? You should do like that Michael Jackson spin, but as you're coming out of it, just like smack the guy in the face. So
like Human Tornado, do that, something like that.
Yeah. It would have been so good, but I'm so proud of that kid, and I really hope that this is like, because coming up to WrestleMania, WrestleMania weekend or WrestleMania week at this point, if they're gonna throw him and Braun Breaker together, there is a guarantee 99% guarantee in my mind that Breakker is going to go to Raw the next night, and Mello is going to win the NXT Championship if they continue with this, because there's no way in hell that they're not going to bring Breakker up after WrestleMania.
Everyone wants Mello to take it away from him. Like, everyone's been wanting this match for a year. Like, it needs to happen.
Yeah, because he's so good. He's been so hot ever since he got there. He's only been there you got to remember, he's only been there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing, like, he signed, and I sent you a link to it, and you're like, holy shit.
It's like, Christian, good.
So I want to move over and talk about what has already been guaranteed on the WrestleMania card and what is rumored to be on the card. So I have it up right now.
There's no 3 matches that are official right now.
Yeah, there's only 3 matches. So I keep seeing people say this. They want the Usos versus KO and Sammy to main event one of the nights. If they do that, what the fuck is the point of the Women's Royal Rumble then? Just to guarantee a title match? Well, fuck that. They deserve to fucking main event, just like the men's Rumble winner is the main event.
I mean, Edge won that one Rumble and curtain jerked with Alberto.
Thank you. I was just about to say.
Yeah,
But
and
same
friggin'
thing-
Miz got the main event. So
Didn't that happen with Sheamus and Daniel Bryan too? Didn't Sheamus win the Royal Rumble that year and then go
Yeah,
on?
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it.
18 seconds.
Yeah,
I hate
considering
Palm
they had a WrestleMania match like the year before, like that got cut too.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
We were
My
all
thing
livid
is-
about that match.
Yeah, my
By the way.
thing is that, like, you know, if 10 years later we're still pissed about it.
It was
the-
there. That's why I'm pissed about it.
Even worse. You know, that's the thing that you know, I think that the Royal Rumble winner should main event WrestleMania, because they always tout it to be, you know, your main eventing WrestleMania. And you know, if they're gonna do the women's one night, and they got to do, but the other thing that they try to throw in there is that co-main event BS, which I'm like, no, there's only one main event. There's no co-main events.
Yeah.
No.
Like, you can't
are
sit there and say,
100%
oh, we've got
Yeah,
a
putting 2
co-main
matches
event.
at the end of the show. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right, it's like, no. You've got your main
There's
event,
one main
and then
event.
you've got the one before your main event. Like,
Your,
you've got
one
your,
main
your
event.
feature contest or whatever. Yeah.
right, and then it's just whoever's the last on is the main event. So if they're gonna do,
You can have 5 marquee matches, but there's only one main event.
throwing Undertaker in there in the middle of the show does not consider, you know, like, hey,
That's not
this
the
is
main
a
event.
main event quality.
No,
it's
that's a
not.
marquee match. It's the Undertaker match at WrestleMania, a marquee
Right.
match. It is
So-
not the main event, and I'm so glad you said that, because I'm so tired of having that argument with people.
I have also been on that side for like 20 years,
It's-
fighting that battle as well.
It's ridiculous.
And it's
And Dan and I go back with a Heyman that would die on that hill and be like, no, there's 5 main events because I said so. Man, shut up.
So, I mean, like, Chris, you can probably account to this, but with the indie wrestling, it's a real big problem in indie wrestling. You see this double main event feature. It's like, no, bullshit. I hate it. It's so
Where do
stupid.
you
It's
put
like,
the double main event? Because smart booking puts a breather match on before the main event.
right? So it's
So where
you
does
know,
your double main event go? Like,
Yeah. It's you got your curtain jerks, you've got your
Yes.
popcorn match, and then you've got your main events. Like, that's
Ricardo's got a great formula, by the way, for Three Legacies, because his shows only have 6 matches plus a pre-show match, but like 6 main card matches, and it's the perfect card because it's all quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And
and that's another thing.
it
Quantity
keeps the
is,
show short, but the fans always leave happy. We sold out. We crammed 600 people in the building 2 days in a row, or two shows in a row. We went from 70 to 600.
That's
Damn.
good. Jeez. Good job
Yeah.
for you guys.
So that's another reason why I'm really happy. to
Have you
the
guys started looking for a new place to do shows from?
So basically what he's told me is if he has to eat the deposit for the rest of the year, because we've got the building for the rest of the year, except our big show in August at the baseball stadium, so be it. He goes, I'll eat the deposit and we'll move on to a bigger building. I don't know if he's actively looking, because here's the thing: we haven't sold out on the pre-sale yet. We've sold out at the door, which is fine. That's still considered a sellout. but
Right.
it's not
So
the sellout, right? But it's not the sellout that you need to start focusing on.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get to that point where you're selling all your tickets and you can't accommodate anybody at the door and you have to turn people away, that's when you want to look for a bigger building. We haven't hit that yet, but we're getting close, because when that Fox News article came out, and the Fox News story on the actual like TV, whatever the local Fox affiliate, I don't have cable, so I have no idea. Fox whatever in Harrisburg, when they did that story, we sold like 300 more tickets in pre-sale. And they ran the article and everything, and you can't even, it wasn't even chalked up to like, oh well, that show happened to have Paul London on it. No, it had nothing to do with that. It was
We've
the
had
news
shows with
article
Paul
and the
London on it
exposure.
too, but like that doesn't draw. I mean, yeah, he can draw, but it's the
Oh,
it's the local guys that
Paul London's such a
really-
good guy too.
Oh, fantastic guy.
Paul, if you're watching this, I know you're not, but did you watch Class Action Park yet? Please watch it. I told you I didn't make that shit up. We had a big conversation about Class Action Park. None of that shit's made up. But yeah, we gotta. So I'm happy that we've got such a big crowd now, because we got Delirious coming back. So I'm looking forward to that. By the
Just
way,
wonder what that guy sounds like when he's not rambling.
I don't want to blow his spot.
No blowing kayfabes.
No,
But-
blowing
And you
kayfabe.
guys got Lady Frost coming too.
Yep.
So
And
that's
also
good.
Lady
That's
Frost.
big.
Savage Gentleman as well.
It's big for you
You know what?
guys.
I'll tell you exactly what the card is. While you move on to the next topic, I'll look up the card. I'll tell you exactly.
Oh yeah,
what's
so
coming.
WrestleMania card. So
So, do we think all the titles are changing at Mania? Because we're gonna have the undisputed title, which I think is changing. I think
Cody's winning.
I think Roman has to drop it. That's just my opinion. I think he has to. Obviously, I think Charlotte versus Rhea. I think Charlotte's dropping to Rhea.
She should.
And I think Bianca is going to drop to Asuka. I think Triple H wants to bring back the Empress, which was what she was in NXT, where she didn't lose, and I think he wants to make Asuka the big bad bitch that she was, like she was in NXT. Because what Bayley said on Up Up Down Down recently, when they were doing the ratings for WWE 2K23, was that Asuka, she literally said Asuka is so far ahead of everyone else when it comes to wrestling in the women's division, that they're all still learning from her. So pretty much it's like she's the best woman wrestler on the roster. Give her the title.
I can't really answer that just yet until I know what all the title matches are. But based on what we know so far, I would say that it's a pretty safe bet that Cody's going to be the Kingslayer.
Mm-hmm.
Do
head
we?
of the table.
So the rumor is that it's supposed to be Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew at Mania for the Intercontinental title.
I could see Gunther retaining.
See, I'm the same way. I can see Gunther retaining his title. I think they want him to go for, have the longest reign for the Intercontinental title.
Potatoes.
Then obviously,
Serving the potatoes.
then obviously, sorry, go ahead.
I got the card real quick. Let's roll this out of the way so it's not lingering. So here are your 6 matches. Steve Michaels versus Tom Mitchell. We've had Tom Mitchell before. This will be Steve Michaels' first appearance. Lady Frost versus Clara Carreras. I don't know anything about Clara. I've never actually seen her wrestle, but obviously we know Lady Frost, so we know that'll be quality. The 6-man tag, Nightmare, good old Richie Nightmare, El Piranha making his return, and Mantequilla, that's butter in Spanish, for those of you unaware. he is the buttery superhero, by the way.
I was like, is he Butters?
Yes, they're going up against Tarzan Duran, Merrick Miami, and Ace Dallas. And Dallas and Miami have teamed up before. The storyline we've been running, Kevin Murphy, who's I've done tons of shows with, he's running the angle right now where he's feuding with Ricardo, and he's got Muscle in his corner, the stable's Money and Muscles. So Ricardo's teaming up with Damian Honor, who's one of his students, making his pro wrestling debut. And on the other side is Sinister X, which is Kevin Murphy's Muscle, and Clayton Adams, the other Muscle, but this is going to be Clayton's first professional match too. The two of Ricardo's students are finally debuting for Three Legacies Wrestling. The
That's
storyline
awesome.
has been pretty simple. Clayton Adams abused the ring crew boy and chokeslammed him twice. And now the ring crew kid is going to team up with Ricardo to take on these two assholes that won't stop messing with him. Easy storyline. Bro Keller and Savage Gentleman, 1-on-1. And then Smiley versus Delirious is the main event.
All right.
And
Sounds like a pretty
if you
good
guys
card.
if you guys follow Three Legacies on Instagram, you can see Delirious's promo.
So I watched that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know Dan's seen that.
Funny.
You could actually understand him most of it this time,
You can understand Lancaster, Amish, and Fool's Gold.
and you can know he set the date because he actually like says the number.
March 17th.
2023.
All right. Now, obviously, the big other rumored match that everyone wants to main event instead of Rhea and Charlotte is the Usos versus Sammy and KO for the undisputed tag titles.
Is that what we're doing though? Because I'm still not convinced that's the angle they're going with.
See, it's a very good question. I don't know if they're gonna have Jey Uso be defending it and instead it being Solo and Jimmy defending it.
Can they Freebird rule it? I don't. Well,
They did it for the Judgment Day.
right, but I know they did it for Judgment Day, but that was like the one exception out of the entire reign that they've had. Like, there hasn't
you
been any
can-
Freebird rules.
You can make a storyline out of that pretty easily.
I
You can-
think
you
that
can
would
have-
be a mistake, though. That would be a mistake. I would have the Usos doing it together. I want to keep Solo undefeated. I want to keep him protected. If everyone else in the Bloodline is going to lose at Mania, have him be the one that doesn't, because that will show the dissension, and that's how you can break Solo off in the Bloodline.
All right.
We're
Be
just
cool
talking
if-
about Solo for a second. Like, how much I love Solo Sikoa right now.
Because it's perfect and he's being protected the right way.
He is literally doing Umaga to. Because I'm thinking Omega now. No, Umaga.
Kenny
to-
Umaga?
Yeah, Kenny Umaga.
Kenny
He's
Manga.
doing. Might as well.
Hugh
be.
Manga.
He's doing the Umaga gimmick so well right now. Literally everything to a T.
He's doing it
Like-
better than Umaga did. That's the scary part.
Yeah, well, it's just, oh man, rest in peace Umaga. But like,
Yeah.
man, that was just everything that Solo is doing right now is fantastic.
He's not
He
doing
really
too
needs to
much.
get
He's
that
doing like the perfect amount. He's
Right,
not
exactly.
overdoing it.
Right, because he's just the muscle. He's just the backup.
Right.
That's all he is. And like,
Protect your talent.
right. And when you see Solo about to go do something to someone, you're like, oh shit, here we go. Like, this is about to go down.
When do we get Solo versus Aaron Solo? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Bailey's
I don't
backyard
care for Aaron
barbecue.
Solo.
Then
When
the
does-
other rumored match is Edge versus Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell with Demon Finn Balor coming out for this match.
Oh, I'd love that. Will this be the first time we'll see Demon Finn as a heel?
Just about to say that.
I
Yes.
think so.
Okay,
Also,
I'm
this is having
100%
seen him
for
in
that.
3 years, 4 years.
And Demon Finn is undefeated, right? Is that still a thing?
No,
or
he
did
lost to
Oh.
Roman. He lost to Roman.
Yeah.
He lost to Roman. Okay.
When the rope broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
When the rope broke.
Then you have supposed rumor Ray versus Dominic.
Yeah, that's been they're pretty much building that up at this point. And that'll be cool because he'll get to wrestle his son at a big show like that, and they'll always have that match. So
I think that it really does need to be a swan song kind of thing for Mysterio.
Absolutely. It,
Like,
it has
for
to be his
Ray.
last match. Yeah.
you know what I
Because
would do?
there's
I would actually. I know that like nobody wants to see Ray without his mask, but if you're gonna have it be the last match, put the mask on the line against his son. Have his son beat him. Think about all the heat Dominic would had to unmask Ray, and then Ray has to disappear. Think about the heat Dominic, and Dominic's already got good heat right now. But-
I love this version of Dominic. I think he's doing a fantastic job with it.
And you know his dad is helping him all the way.
my concern with this though is what happens when this becomes stale. Does Dom just become somebody in the background again? Because like how Dominic being the little bitch boy works so perfectly.
Dom
And it's like,
the sub.
you know, now it's like, you know,
Dom's a sub.
what happens when all this is done?
Well, see, they're starting to throw crumbs of, because Legado del Fantasma, or Phantasma, whatever the fuck the other part of their name is, has gone as turned. They have become faces now.
Right.
And they had their first confrontation with Escobar and Dom on SmackDown this past week. I think after Mania, it's going to start between Dom and Escobar because of his disrespect to Ray.
Right, but do we think that Dominic can live up to his dad?
No, but that's not a fair comparison either.
That's not
Dominic
fair,
shouldn't live up to his dad. He should be his own person.
Right, but I mean, in terms of like the carrying the torch kind of deal, like do we think that it's gonna be like, I don't know, the way that I see it is that if Rey Mysterio is retiring and passing along the torch, it's like, is Dominic gonna take it and run and kind of like, is it gonna be worth
How far is he in still? Like, that's the thing. Like, he's learning on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
Not in
that's
front
true,
of 7
too.
people that you guys did.
Right.
Yeah.
He's doing it on Monday
13,
Night
sir.
Raw.
My smallest
Yeah.
crowd was 13, all right?
Yeah. GP.
And I
He
brought
loves
4 of them.
But he's learning on Monday Night Raw in front of 20,000 people in front of his
Yeah.
face
Right.
and millions watching on television.
And it's showing.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
he's
thing, it's
what,
showing.
like 4 years in?
Yeah.
He
I just-
debuted in the
my-
pandemic era.
My concern is the fact that, like, if you look at any multi-generational star, they always get compared to their parents or their grandparents. Like,
Mhm.
you're looking at Charlotte getting compared to Rick. You're looking at Dominic get compared to Ray. You're looking at Roman get compared to his, you know, and
Charlotte's
Usos.
better than David, at least.
Everybody's compared to. Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, we're just being fair. Like,
I mean,
Listen.
again, David Flair only wrestled for like a year. And it was on, and he did all his learning on Nitro in front
Right.
of 20,000 people and millions on television.
Wasn't he a
remember-
WCW United States champion?
he was a Thunder guy.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
was
he was
a
a
staple
hardcore
on
champ.
Thunder.
Now you're making me Google David
Yeah.
Flair title history.
I'm pretty sure it's just the United States Championship.
Nobody's
in
Googled that in years.
WCW.
I thought he won the
Possibly
hardcore
ever.
title.
What was it? What?
I thought he won the hardcore title once.
He's a U.S. champion once, tag champion with Crowbar.
Well, that's a reign I forgot.
After winning a tournament for the titles with Crowbar.
Well,
I feel
hell
so
of a
bad
random-
for. I genuinely feel bad for Crowbar. I just saw a picture of him holding a stuffed squirrel with a title belt around its waist, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Crowbar.
So now the other rumor is, because there's still like 2 more after this one, is Bray versus Bobby Lashley, but I'm also hearing potential rumors of it turning into the Hurt Business versus the Wyatt Six.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
I'm fine with the Wyatt Six versus the Hurt Business. I really just don't.
Get them on TV.
My
Like,
thing is
keep
that
them on
like
TV.
when Bray Wyatt came out and challenged Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar, it just made no sense to me.
Yep.
Like, it's like, what was the point of that?
Well, Bray has history with Brock, and their match got canceled because Vince McMahon's a piece of shit. So like, I could see the reason for him for challenging Brock. Bobby, I don't see for a reason, to be honest.
Right. The fact that it's like, oh, I'm gonna challenge whoever wins this match is like, why?
Listen,
There's nothing to do with this.
I'm just ready for big meaty men slapping meat. That's what I'm ready for.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that real quick. I'm so excited for the next worst match ever. Like, I really am.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brock
we haven't
Lesnar
had-
versus Almost.
We haven't had a worst match ever at WrestleMania since Michael Cole. So I'm so
Well, I
excited.
mean,
A negative 5-star match on the card. Let's go.
It's been 12 years.
2 nights of Mania, like 6 or 7 hours worth of content. I need to go to the bathroom, so I'm glad that I have
Perfect
like
match.
15 minutes to be like, let me go take a shit and get a snack, and then come back for like.
And when
actual
you
matches
come
that I
back
care
and he's
about.
still having his entrance, and you're just like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch, I missed nothing.
That happened to me.
Give him the Honor the Giant ring that moves him down the aisle, please. Don't let this man walk 80 yards to the ring.
That happened. What was one of the ridiculous entrances happened at the Survivor Series because we were playing Fall Guys, and I left. We had to pause because I had to go up and go to the bathroom.
We were at Survivor Series.
Yeah, this past what, War Games?
Yeah, SummerSlam.
Oh,
SummerSlam.
Well, we were supposed to be at SummerSlam.
We were.
SummerSlam was originally supposed to be in Boston, but then it got canceled because of the pandemic. And then instead of bringing back SummerSlam, they decided to just go with Survivor Series, which I was very happy about.
Yeah, because we were gonna go.
When did Bray come back?
Extreme Rules,
right?
Extreme
Rules. Okay,
because
so that was the pay-per-view.
Because I was with you guys watching.
We were playing Fall Guys, and I got up to go to the I don't remember whose entrance it was, but I got up to go to the bathroom, and I thought I was gone for a while. I came back. I said, "Okay, what did I miss?" So you're like, "Oh, he's still having his entrance." I'm like, "Are you all right?"
Was it Roman Reigns' entrance? Because Roman Reigns Roman
Reigns
Reigns has the Undertaker entrance now, where he takes 20 minutes to get to the fucking ring.
I have no problem with that though. Like the fact that Roman Reigns is so over in my book and such an asshole in my book that it's like this just adds to it. It's just, hey, I'm gonna take 20 minutes to get down to the ring because f you, I don't want to freaking wrestle for 20 extra minutes. It's like
Roman Reigns.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Roman Reigns is the best thing that happened during the COVID era because not having the crowds there, I think, helped get him where he was.
Yeah,
the fact that you know it's really bad, but the fact that he had to go away for a while because of his leukemia, that was probably the best thing that could have happened for his gimmick. Right. Because when he came back, it was like, nah, fuck all you guys. I'm survived. I just beat leukemia. Like, I'm coming for you guys now. Like, you guys all have. I just cheated death, multiple times in my life. And now he comes back, and it's like, all right, heel Roman Reigns is here. Here you go.
I'm going to take the shirt off.
Much needed. Best thing he could have done, too. Like, the fact that he kept wearing. I hated bulletproof vest gimmicks. I just absolutely hated it.
Hey, you leave D'Lo Brown alone, all right?
Hey, at least D'Lo Brown had a chest injury to protect.
You're messing with the real deal now, okay? Woo!
Out on the street.
It worked for the Shield. When, because, even Dean Ambrose, when he would get in there, he would take off the jacket. He would take off the freaking bulletproof vest.
Yeah, and then bleed.
Yeah, that too.
It worked with the turtlenecks the first time.
Yeah. But, the thing with, the Shield gimmick is that it worked so well. It made sense. It was part of the game. When Roman Reigns was off on his own, it's like, why are you still wearing that? I know it's part of the gimmick. You're the big dog, but, dude,
the other two branched off to different music, different gimmicks, and he was like, I'm still doing the thing my friends deserted me from doing.
Five or 6 years later.
Yeah. As the guy that was the last minute addition to the group.
Yeah.
Right.
I want Chris Hero. No, you don't. You want Liaki.
There you go.
You don't pal. You want Liaki.
Just imagine if Chris Hero wasn't it.
We want CM Punk on the cover of the video game.
Chris Hero.
No, you don't. You want Sheamus. No, we want Punk. No. You want Sheamus. No, we're pretty sure we want Punk.
That was when I heard about, was it Under Armour wanted Shelton Benjamin, and Vince McMahon kept on saying, no, you want this person, this person, this person. and Under Armour walked away. And then apparently they signed with them a few years ago now, finally. But they could have had Under Armour, day one, back in, 04 with Shelton Benjamin.
Yep.
They would have had
Shelton Benjamin's fantastic, by the way.
Yeah,
he seems like a wicked chill dude.
Yeah.
And
I
then
don't know if I've ever met Shelton Benjamin.
The last match rumored for right now. Oh wait, no. There's also Damage Control versus Trish, Becky, and Lita. That would be. Okay. I think that's gonna be a great match. And then the last
Damage Control needs to win, right?
Agreed. And then the last match rumored is, which is most likely it's gonna happen, is Seth frickin' Rollins versus piece of shit Logan Paul.
Yep.
Now
we knew that was gonna happen.
Now I will say this: I hate Logan Paul so fucking much, but my God, has he taken to wrestling?
That's just it.
Yeah,
He
He's
is
the perfect heel.
good.
He's the heel Miz wishes he could be.
Like he.
You know, it's funny because like I never really followed up with like Logan Paul or anything like that. And then I was saying to Matt the other day, I was like, why does everybody hate Logan Paul? Like, why did he come back as a heel? There's no point of it. Like I thought he was doing really well as a face, and then you know, just being that cocky face, and then like Matt's like, yeah, no, he's a piece of shit. I'm like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense.
But he's using it to his advantage, and it's going to draw money. So
Right. I mean, like, yeah, I've watched. I love
pretty
watching
much his life.
Impulsive. So I watch Impulsive, and I see like, you know, sometimes where he can be an asshole, but most of the time he's pretty respectful to his guests. So it's like his boy George. Yeah, that guy is like definitely an asshole to every guest that he has. So,
But
yeah, I mean,
and my thing is, okay, yeah, the celebrity can be the biggest asshole, but if they're respecting wrestling, then I'm going to show them some respect too. And like,
right.
and I'm not going to turn
Sounds fantastic.
I'm not going to turn this into a political thing or anything, but that's a positive thing I said about Donald Trump. He tried, he got that angle over. So I can't say anything negative about that. He also hosted a couple of WrestleManias, including number 5, which is a great Mania. I don't think it's the best one ever, Joe, but it is a good one. I'll give you that. I'm not going to say the best one ever, but there's tons of celebrities who've come in and respected it, and then you've got, you know, idiots like the NASCAR drivers who, or Jeremy Piven who called.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, like they didn't care. They were just there to be on TV. So like,
Well, he was getting ready for the Summerfest, so
yeah, and that's just it. If you're a nice guy and you try hard, you don't have to know shit about wrestling to get it over. So.
Who was that guy that John Cena had a whole thing with back in like 2004? No,
Kevin
2007.
Federline.
Kevin Federline.
Kevin Federline.
Hated that.
Federline.
They even booked a match like a month in advance.
The fact that you put Federline over John Cena is like, come on.
I was going to joke and say I was going to joke and say Tony from the SVR games. Remember when they had that storyline of him going to like the army days?
Tony the Troop, yeah.
Tony the Trooper.
Just it made no sense.
Tony the Trooper, we're great.
Speaking of celebrities that came through and just had a real great time with it that I really enjoyed, the Jackass crew.
Yeah,
you know,
they had fun with it.
I think that, you know, it was you know exactly what they needed to do. They didn't need to wrestle, but they came in and they just made it fun. And they like, you go into that watching it and be like, you guys aren't wrestlers. You guys aren't going to take wrestling seriously. Great, but the gimmick work that surrounded it was fantastic. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed everything that they did with Sami Zayn.
Like, I personally didn't care for it, but I'm not the audience for it. That was never my thing. So, like I said, this wasn't for me. So for the audience this is for, I hope you guys have a good time. It's my exact attitude with the garbage wrestling. This is not for me. It will never be for me. But if you guys are enjoying it, you can enjoy it. But in the case of garbage wrestling, keep it away from my sports-based wrestling that I like.
Yeah. If you would have told me leading up to Mania last year with Sammy and his whole thing with Johnny Knoxville, which went
exactly
from
going with this.
Royal Rumble to Mania,
Yep.
if you would have told me in the next year, Sami Zayn's only going to turn face, he's going to get a gigantic pop, but he's going to have a world title match at a pay-per-view, and people are going to want him to win it, you would have never believed me. Never would have believed me in April.
I knew exactly where you were going when you started that point. I'm like, I'm with you all the way.
Yeah.
But like, is Vince McMahon still in charge? Then hell no.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm gonna talk about that real quick. The thing that bothers me about the whole Vince McMahon thing now, again, people bring it up for the millionth time, that people think he's back and creative, is that he can't. He specifically signed a thing with the SEC that he won't jump into creative. He legitimately can't without being sued by the SEC.
And why would he want to be? I mean, you can see from the
he's a narcissist. That's why.
Okay, but the company is more. It's more appealing to be bought now than ever before.
He's asking for $9 billion, by the way, and they have offers, which is insane to me.
Right, 9. Yeah, I see you, Chris, with the.
$9 billion.
If you see what those TV deals have been, if you see the way that things have gone creatively, you see these record ratings and the attention they're getting on social media, the the gates that they're doing at these major events. Why would you want to touch that? Like, if you want to make the most amount of money, Vince, just be there, collect your money, but just leave them alone. They're obviously doing something good right now. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, but it comes down to it's his baby. Like that's how he's always looked at it, and like that, the fact that he took it from just a small like little coliseum down here in south of Boston, Cape Cod, to being the global phenomenon that it is like that's I can understand where he still wants his creative input to be kind of there.
Right.
Even if he's not part of it, he's not. I mean, he's not on their payroll. So in regard to the FCC finding out, who's to say that he's just not sitting there and feeding something to Triple H and be like, "Hey, do this," but there's no record of him do. It's just word of mouth at that point. They can't trace it back, so they're not going to be able to sue him if he's sitting there going, "No, we were just having a casual conversation, and he decided to do it."
Yeah, but
So
with Stephanie stepping back from all that stuff, like he literally is selling it instead of like maybe just giving it to his family, like they can inherit it. He doesn't
Stephanie
give a
wanted to
shit.
step back anyway. That was the other point, was that she did want to take a break. So that
She stepped back, and then Vince coming back made her step back in.
Right, because
And
she was
step back
like,
out
well,
again.
I definitely think that there's some animosity within that family right now.
Let's not pretend like he gives a shit about anyone in his family right now. Let's not pretend like that's the
I
case,
guess
because that's
considering that
clearly not.
he bought it from his father,
Right.
and he's not even giving his children an opportunity to do so.
Yeah,
He bought it from his father for what, $1 million or something like that. It was $1 million sale. Back
Let
when it
me
was an
ask you
indie
this.
original promotion.
Well, let me just throw this out there. Who's to say at this point that Stephanie or Shane or even Triple H even want it at this point? Maybe they don't. Maybe they've actually all said, no, we're not interested in being what you were. And they could be all in favor of what's happening. We just don't know. Like you said, it's all hearsay at this point.
Well,
it's all behind closed doors.
Well, it's like what Triple H said in his press conference when he was asked that question. He said, "As long as I keep doing what I'm doing right now, I don't care who owns the company."
Right.
So
if he gets to stay in his position, then he's not going to care.
And why would you take him out? He's doing a phenomenal job right now.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think I'm going to end this episode here, but I do want to say this. I would love for us to do this again when the Raw after WrestleMania and talk about WrestleMania, what we thought and everything. And maybe do it on a Tuesday and see what the surprises are on Raw after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
You guys all down for that?
Totally down for it. Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, perfect. Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I hope you all have a great day. Sean, I hope you have fun at work. I'll probably be up most of the night, so I'll probably be talking to you. So you all have a wonderful weekend.